Good day, everybody. This is Dr. O, and you're watching another episode of In the Know with Dr. O. Thanks for watching this video. Make sure you hit that subscription button and notification bell if you haven't already. And hit that like button if you agree with what I'm saying, if you like what I'm saying. And leave me a comment to let me know what you're thinking. I know it's been a minute since I've last uploaded a video, but today I want to talk to my fellow black men. A letter of sorts to my fellow black men. I want to know why we are separating ourselves from one another and viewing each other like we're two different races. We aren't just fighting battles outside of our race and our gender, but it appears we're, for a long time now, fighting within. When so many of us are fighting and having to push back on those who are fighting us as black men. We as black men, well, why do we want to aid others in our own demise? I don't get that. Don't we have enough inequality, enough division placed on us by non-blacks? Of course, that answer is yes. So why do we create this inequality? Why do we create this animosity and this division and this discord? Black men kicking other black men when they're down, being envious of those who have and laughing at those who don't. Aren't we all on the same side? Some say no. Some say no. But shouldn't we be? Shouldn't we as black men all be on the same side? I've met some and I've heard of other people, other black men who look at our differences. Not just black men, but just people in general. They look at our differences and point to these differences as why black men will continue to be separated as a gender and as a race. In my short amount of time alive, I've noticed two different classes of people. You have those who I like to say are standing up, and then you have those who are sitting down. Now, why are some of us standing up while others are sitting down? What do I mean? What do I even mean by standing up and sitting down? Those standing up are seen as black men who make over a certain dollar figure. And I think six figures has been that prominent amount, or that amount that appears to be acceptable by black and non-black people alike. Those standing up are seen as black men who have a respectable job or career, are driven, do the right thing. They're not in and out of jail, not in and out of prison. They aren't skirting their responsibilities. They're not blaming the man for their issues, blaming others in life, if it's family or friends. They're not blaming anybody. Not only do they avoid skirting responsibility or blaming others, black men that are standing up, we often feel the pressure or responsibility of representing black men, representing all black men. So what are the black men that are sitting down? What do I mean by that? Black men who are sitting down are those who are, they're literally sitting down. And they may gossip and talk about others, like females are known to do. You know that stereotype. They expect people to do things for them. They are envious of others, yet they don't put in the work. I know quite a few people like that. They're envious, but they don't put in the work. They have a lot of plans and goals in life, but very little action, except for the action of taking hold and grabbing onto the coattails or the hard work of black men who are standing up. Those black men who are sitting down, they talk a good game, real good game at time, and you may know some. They're always looking for a handout. Yeah, they're always looking for a handout. They pass the blame to anything or anyone except for themselves. And yet they wonder why the black woman will not submit to them, why they feel emasculated by a strong black woman. Actually, that's another topic another episode. But the black man is sitting down, they feel entitled, like the world owes them something. And I'm here to tell you that the world don't owe you a damn thing. The world doesn't owe you anything. At the same time, those sitting down are sometimes, or maybe even often, viewed as the representation of all black men by non-black people. And that's what the problem is, in my opinion. I don't recall any other time where those who are considered sitting down or at the lower end of a given race, those who don't do much in life, who may lack education beyond high school, who don't have a well-paying job, who do more gossiping than anything. They would rather sit around and drink and smoke all day. I've never heard of people like that being viewed as the entire race to the degree of black men. While we who are standing up may feel like that pressure is on us, it's not. Non-blacks don't seem to view it the same. Non-blacks don't seem to look at the man who is standing up as representative of all black men. Again, they like to look at those who are sitting down and say, see, this is what black people are. This is what the black man is. And that's not fair. That's not right. It's not accurate. That's not fair. Unfortunately, their view, or they view those who are sitting down as the typical black man. And while that may not be fair, that is a human tendency after all. It's a type of bias, really. Negativity bias, which comes to mind, which is when people are likely to remember and be drawn to negative events as opposed to positive. Bad news over good news. Criticisms are likelier to impact those people, impact people more than compliments. Negative events tend to stick with us more than positive events. Humans in general tend to think about negative things more frequently than positive. And then in my experiences, those who are sitting down are often the loudest. We hear of them more. We hear them more. They're being loud in public places, for example, acting a fool, in my opinion. You may hear them in grocery stores, food establishments, any number of public places where they're acting like they don't have any manners. Those sitting down are likely the ones gossiping the most when you see them and hear of them, defying the rule of law, and just otherwise not representing black men the way that we should all be represented, especially our gender and our race. So if those sitting down are seen the most and are the loudest, then those things I just described as far as you see them out in public, grocery stores, food establishments, etc. Non-whites will see this behavior as negative and respond to these events more strongly than positive events or situations involving black men who are standing up. This may be because those of us standing up, we aren't seen as much. We aren't seen as often. We're not as loud. We're not projecting who we are as a stand-up black man. And that's our fault. That's our fault. We're not projecting who we are and how we are. Non-black responses often can come in the form of believing all black men are the same. And not in a good way. Not in a good way. And that's an unfortunate truth. You know, research shows that negative events or news is more likely to be seen as truthful. I know we've all seen that on the news where we ask ourselves, well, why do they feel that way? Why do they believe that? Because that's just a human tendency, where we are likelier to believe negative events as the truth, as opposed to positive events that are true. And the sad thing is, this isn't just a non-black viewing black men in a negative way perspective. It's some black men looking at other black men through that same non-black lens. So it's too much infighting, in my opinion, between those who are standing up and those who are sitting down. And at some point, that has to stop. Now, while each of us, we may have our own different social selves and that we show different sides of who we are based on our social environment. Those who we are around and the setting we are in, the social proximity effect, that's real. And what that means is you will mirror the behavior of those people you're around. That's just what it is. You're going to mirror their behavior. You're going to their habits of the people you spend the most time with. That's what the social proximity effect is. And I know some of us don't like to believe that we aren't without that type of control of our life, that we can hang around people for long periods of time and not pick up their habits, but that's just not the case. You are like those people you hang around. You will eventually become your friends. You'll eventually become your friends, your group mates, your teammates, the gang members you hang around, your family, whoever you spend a lot of time with. You will eventually pick up at least some of their habits, some of their traits. If you're around other people who are sitting down, well, guess what? You're going to be like that. So if you're around people who sit around, they spend more time talking about nothing and doing nothing instead of working and growing as a person. How in the world do you think you're going to be anything different? How do you think that is? How do you think you're different than those who aren't doing anything productive and representative of black men if that's who your core of people you hang around with? You know, black men, if you hang around 5 black men, grown men who live with their parents, you're going to be that 6 eventually. You're going to be that 6th black man who end up living with their parents because you're going to pick up the traits and the habits of those. Recently, someone forwarded me a link, it may have been a week or two ago, of the former NBA player Kwame Brown, and where he discussed his basketball career among some other things. I didn't listen to a lot of it. There were different points he made in the discussion, but a portion of it revolved around his NBA career, playing days, and how many talked about he was a scrub. And I'll keep my feelings on that to myself, but he kind of went in on some different people and everything. But the point I took from the short amount of video that I did see, I heard was that black men at all levels experience being torn down by other black men. Black men, if we aren't careful, if we continue to step on those who are down, refuse to take responsibility for our own actions, if we don't stop blaming the man or others for our misfortunes, then we're going to get what's coming to us. That's just how life goes. Why talk about someone who is more like you? Why put down someone who is more like you? Why step on someone who is more like you than unlike you? If you want to question another black man, question what he's doing. Ask that black man what he did in life to turn his life around. What he did to reach that goal, to obtain that degree, to get that job. Don't question his manhood, his street cred, his ability or inability to meet your little and limited viewpoint on something, because that's what it is. It's limited and it's little and it's limited. Your viewpoint, that's what it is. So don't question him from your perspective or in a negative way. Ask him, if you must question something, ask him what he did to reach whatever level he's on. For those of us who are standing up, who made a good or honest living and doing things the right way, or more acceptable, if that even matters, but more acceptable by others. Looking down on others, in my opinion, is crazy, especially when others, non-blacks, are already doing the same thing. If we are doing what non-blacks are doing, are we more like them or more like the black man we should be? That's the question. If we're doing what non-blacks are doing, as far as putting down black men, stepping on them, are we more like them or more like the black man we should be? For those sitting down, thinking you aren't sitting down, who are viewing this video and saying, what is he talking about? Oh, no, he's not talking about me. Yes, I am talking about you. For those of you sitting down coming up with excuses, and I know plenty of them, failing to understand that when you don't want to do something, such as becoming accountable, being held responsible, and looking in the mirror and accepting that you are the problem, when you don't want to do something, one excuse is as good as another. It truly is. So save those excuses and do something about it, regardless of what you are. A black man standing up or one sitting down. We cannot. Scratch that. We must not continue being the biggest enemy, the biggest threat among our gender and race. Look, black men, tearing each other down can permeate the fabric of any race. It really can, especially the black man who at least some will say are already fighting many fights. Too many fights, in my opinion. It can permeate, in fact, it can permeate the fabric of any relationship, especially among black men. Especially among black men, of which we should be encouraging all black men to be what you were meant to be. We were meant to be the head, the king, the ruler, the provider, the protector. That's what's required from us, in my opinion. That's what's required from us, demanded from us, expected of us. We shouldn't be infighting and perpetuating the stereotypes that non-black people do, that we don't have to, in my opinion, they may feel that we don't have to do anything to kill black men. They're doing it for us. We don't have to do anything. We don't have to do anything to minimize black men and their standing in society. That if we just wait it out, they'll take care of it for us. We as black men are doing the exact thing that some feel non-blacks are doing, stepping on the black men, stepping on the black man, putting each other down, stepping on each other. But black men, we were put here to be better, to do better, and to view other black men better than we do. And like many things in life, what's seen the most gives the impression of being the overall representation of all things that it's supposed to represent. So to all my black men out there, if we want to be seen as better, as the kings we are, the rulers we are, as the race and gender which played a major part in building the existence as seen in this country and around the world today, we must be better, do better, and view each other better. We must do that. So to my black men, I'll leave you with this. Don't create the destiny you are trying to avoid by walking down the path you should avoid. Don't create the destiny you're trying to avoid by walking down the path you should avoid. Too many of us do that. If you aren't trying to talk about people, then don't hang around people who talk about people. The recipe, the equation is simple. If you aren't trying to talk about people, don't hang around people who talk about people. If you aren't trying to sit around all day and smoke throughout the day or drink throughout the day, then don't hang around people who do those things. If you want us all black men to come up and stay up, to destroy the stigma and the stereotype around us as black men, that we must encourage, we must guide, we must uplift, we must accept responsibility, we must look in the mirror, we must evaluate ourselves, stop with the behavior that goes to the stereotype that black men are lazy, are uneducated, and whatever other stereotype that currently exists for black men. We must stop all of that. And probably just as important, is if you can't uplift and motivate and guide and encourage, then at the very least, don't tear down other black men. Don't talk about them, don't wish bad on them, just keep their names out of your mouth. it's getting ridiculous, really, truly, and that there's separation, there's division among, in my opinion, the greatest race and gender and class is the black man, yet we separate ourselves more than other races separate us. We do that, and it's getting ridiculous. All right, I don't have anything else. I have a lot more to say, but I'm gonna leave it right there. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and notification bell if you haven't already, and hit that like button, and if you like what I'm saying, and leave some comments and let me know what you think. Thanks for watching this latest episode of In the Know with Dr. O, and this is Dr. O signing off.